The Sportscast, March 17th, meaning Happy St. Patrick's Day. Welcome to the Sportscast. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels: Periscope, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and we're on Twitch. That's right, we are on Twitch as well. You can if you're a video person and you hang out at Twitch, we are there as well. And also visit us on thesportscast.net. thesportscast.net for the latest and greatest when it comes to sports. A lot going on this week. Of course, we got March Madness, NFL, free agency, NBA, a few games out there. But join us on the road, Ryan, Christa. You're driving. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
Major college basketball tournament.
Yeah, Ryan, I think your connection might be bad, so I might have to call you in.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, let me call you in, guys. Sorry about that. Sometimes when you're on the road, you might not have the best internet, but it's probably best if you call them in. And I'm going to call Ryan in because Ryan sounds better on the phone than over Skype audio. It might be better. Much better, Ryan. Wow. Much better. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to go through the bracket. We finished off. We were at the Sweet 16, and we're going to finish the bracket, and we're going to make it to the national championship, and who's going to be winner. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to switch to the camera mode here, and let's go on for the – let's go with the first game, Gonzaga versus Creighton. Who do you got?
And I have the Bulldogs winning this one. I think this will be a high-energy, high-scoring game. Two great offensive coaches in Greg McDermott and Mark Few. I'll say this again. Say this once. I'll say it again probably another. This is Gonzaga's year. They're undefeated. They got balance of, young superstar like a Jalen Suggs with a veteran leader like Corey Kispert and somebody in the middle like Drew Timme. This is just a dynamic team. Now, Creighton is a well-balanced. This is one of Greg McDermott's better defensive teams. They might not have the scoring punch to it, like the teams with his son Doug McDermott on there. But at the same time, this is definitely a team that I think can give Gonzaga a run for their money, but I think the Bulldogs will win in the end.
Gonzaga wins, the favorite for a lot of people. Kansas versus Iowa, Midwest game. Who do you got in the West in that semifinal, in that Sweet 16 matchup?
This is two teams. This comes out. That means Gonzaga is going to have a rematch from somebody from the previous matchup, as Gonzaga beat Kansas or Iowa earlier this year. I think I'm going to go with Iowa. Iowa's got Luka Garza, the best player in college basketball this year from start to finish. Jordan Bourheen is a dynamic guard, playmaker. Definitely a well-coached team in Fran McCaffrey. This is definitely not an iconic Kansas team, but definitely a team worthy of a Sweet 16 team. But I think in the end, Iowa has a little too much more firepower for Kansas.
Iowa is what Ryan is saying. Let's go into the East bracket. Michigan versus FSU. This sounds very intriguing, Ryan. What does your gut tell you?
FSU must be one of the hardest things to predict all year because when they're good, they're good. Like I said, they're a typical Leonard Hamilton FSU team where they're long, they're lanky, they defend you all over the court. At times, a little offensive challenge. They got superstar player Scotty Barnes. But Michigan, they can get Isaiah Livers back. That's a huge loss to them right now. But they're such a balanced team. They're kind of like Gonzaga in a sense. They got scorers all over the court. Elite coaching and Juwan Howard. they're just not consistent the last couple weeks, and that kind of scares me. It makes me want to lead FSU, but Michigan's just a little too advanced for FSU, I think, in the end.
FSU, Florida team. Ryan is very favorable when it comes to Florida teams. Let's go on to Texas versus Bama. A Bama team that people think they're an Elite Eight. Does Ryan think the same?
Absolutely. Again, I said this last time, is that if Alabama plays their best game, they're a Final Four team, Santiago. The problem is that when you shoot tons of three-pointers, there might be a day you don't hit them. And they've had games this year where they haven't hit them and still won the game. Because they do play great defense. Herb Jones is a heck of a defender. Swiss Army knife. John Petty, elite shooter. Texas is a veteran team, first team from the state of Texas ever to win the Big 12 tournament. So they're hot right now. I'm going to go get the Roll Tide on this.
Roll Tide is going up against FSU.
Santiago, I'm giving you lots of chalk. 1 versus 2, 1 versus 2.
Yeah, which it could be. Yeah, it might not be a good thing sometimes, but anyways.
But yeah, it just goes back to kind of thing. I've seen a lot of experts. This is definitely, for some reason, this year the chalk has just an overwhelming feeling, especially in some of these regions.
And quite interesting. Let's go to the South region. Baylor versus Winthrop, a Winthrop team that people are saying they're Cinderella. Will their trek stop there, Ryan?
Yes, I think the glass slipper breaks right here. Midnight strikes. I'm going to go Baylor. I think Baylor is. They before the COVID pause, they were definitely 1B with Gonzaga and best team in the country. They're kind of taking a step back. They lost in the Big 12 semis to Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State. But still, they have way too much balance, offense, defense. That's what separates them and Gonzaga. Gonzaga is a favorable offensive team, but an underrated defensive team. I think people think of Baylor, they think of a great defensive team and an underrated offensive team. But when they're clicking on both sides, this is really an impossible team to beat. And I'm going to say Baylor goes to the Elite Eight.
And if anyone wants to comment on this, let us know in the comments. Arkansas versus Oklahoma State. What's going to happen there?
If this happens, this will be a fun matchup. Two great young athletic teams going back and forth at each other. I think what the difference between these two teams is Oklahoma is kind of a star later with Cade Cunningham. Yes, they were able to beat West Virginia a couple weeks ago without Cade Cunningham. But I think what Arkansas has shown during the winning streak is that, yes, they do have, elite players, but they've got a couple elite players, more than just one player. And I think that's going to help them beat Oklahoma State in the trip for the Hogs to the Elite Eight.
Arkansas Hogs. Illinois versus... Wait. No, sorry about that. It was Arkansas versus Ohio State.
That's what I thought, but I was like, I didn't have the bracket in front of me, but okay.
I apologize, guys. I apologize because how I noticed, because Illinois is playing Oklahoma State. That's where Oklahoma's playing.
What I thought. I think that was the big matchup in the 3-16 everybody wanted.
But either way, Arkansas can beat Ohio State and Oklahoma State. So.
Yes, but with this matchup, I'm gonna split my view a little bit. I think Ohio State goes to the Elite Eight. I do think they're a deep offensive team, a decent defensive team, but Chris Holtman's got it going. I think this is an Elite Eight team.
So it's Illinois.
Well, first I picked Ohio State over Arkansas, and then I'm going to pick Illinois over Arkansas, or Illinois
State.
Over Ohio. Yes.
Where is Arkansas State? Anyways, West Virginia versus Houston.
This is a fun matchup. Bob Huggins, Calvin Sampson, two great iconic coaches going back and forth. This is not a usual Bob Huggins team where they just kind of wear you down defensively. This is an offensive first basketball team. going against, a defensive-minded team in Houston. I think Houston could suffocate them. This is a likelihood. But I just have a gut feeling I think West Virginia will win this game.
WVA, the Mountaineers. Okay, now we're going to the Elite Eight. This is where things get a little bit nasty. Gonzaga versus Iowa.
Rematch from a game earlier this season. Like I said, I think Gonzaga's deep. They can score. They can, from every position on the court. Well, Iowa might have the best college basketball player on the court today. I think Gonzaga's just got too much talent. I'm going to go with the Bulldogs to get to the championship.
Gonzaga is still alive. FSU versus Alabama, Southeast matchup. I like this.
Is this a game of the century in football here as a couple of years ago? But anyways, this is on the hardwood. I'm going to go with the Tide to make it to the Final Four.
Unbelievable. I probably never seen them that deep in a tournament in my lifetime.
And you might not see it again, especially if Nate Oates leaves.
True. Where do you think he'll go?
I don't know if I have. If he does get a position at Indiana, I think that's a dream job for any college basketball coach.
True. That is something that is iconic in that area. Okay, let's go to the South. Baylor versus Arkansas.
Fun matchup. This will be a great game. I'm going to go Baylor because I think Baylor's the Final Four team, but this will be a back-and-forth showdown if this game happens.
Unbelievable. Oh, wait. Okay, so I did a mistake here in the bracket, but maybe he'll pick West Virginia. Okay, Illinois versus West Virginia.
They're going to go Illinois again, another Final Four team. Kofi Cober, Hawaii DeSano, just a 1-2 combo. Trent Frazier. This might be if Gonzaga is the best team in the country playing as they're undefeated, Illinois might be the hottest team in the country right behind them.
Interesting. Okay, hopefully they'll meet in the national championship. We'll see what Ryan says. Okay, semifinals, the Final Four. Exciting times. You made it. You feel good. You haven't won it yet completely, but you're in the Final Four. Gonzaga versus Alabama. Where does this go?
I think Alabama will be just happy to be there. Gonzaga's got a championship on their mind. I've watched pretty much every Gonzaga game for 10 years plus. This team is just something different, because Gonzaga is usually a team that, pride themselves on developing, good players and they got a great player right off the bat, Jalen Suggs. Well, balanced with, a guy like Corey Kispert, who was a middle-of-the-road recruit and now is the first-team All-American. You got a second-team All-American in Drew Timme. Against, like you said, a team that, if they get hot in the three-point line, they might be tough to beat Alabama. I just think that, if you can shut that down, I think Gonzaga will. I think Gonzaga goes to the national championship.
Gonzaga, Ryan still believes they're the best. Illinois, Baylor, Final Four.
This is a rematch from a game, I think, back in late November, early December. Two elite teams, two elite programs. Brad Underwood has done a heck of a job. Now, here's a story for you, Santiago. We talked about Illinois, Oklahoma State a little bit ago. Brad Underwood spent 1 year in Oklahoma State, really changed the program and the dynamics. Brought along a young coach named Mike Boynton. Brad Underwood has great success in year one in Oklahoma State. The Illinois athletic director, Josh Whitman, believes it, after firing, moving on from John Gross, that Brad Underwood is the man for the job, and basically camps out at Brad Underwood's house in Oklahoma until he would say yes to the job. Because he said no. And so basically he just stayed outside his house until he gave him a number he couldn't say no to. Leaves for Illinois. It takes a couple years to really hit his stride as he did this year. But he leaves behind Coach Mike Boynton, who might be the one that's the rising young star in college basketball. I think at age 37, 38 years old. High recruiter, brings in the best high school player in the country, Kate Cunningham. With circumstances that when they recruited him, that they might not even be able to play in the NCAA tournament. That's how good of recruiter Mike Boynton is. And I think this is an interesting tournament that we, if they do end up playing here in the Sweet 16. But talking about Illinois, this is a really fun team to watch. They play great defense. But what separates them from other previous teams, in the red room, this team can score the ball elite, inside, outside, balanced. Going against, Scott Drew team, who's got, specialists. They got offense. Cook is a great offensive player. Vitale is a great defensive player. I think it'll come down, the game probably played in the middle, in the high 60s, early 70s, back and forth, but I just think Illinois might be the best team not named Gonzaga in the country, and that's why I think they're going to, spoiler it, will play against each other in the championship.
So this is the closest from the Final Four, you think, that matchup?
Yeah, because I think these are, if Gonzaga's won, these two are 2A and 2B right now in the country.
Ryan, I believe you. I trust you completely with my $10,000 bet.
Oh, boy.
I'm just kidding. Okay, national championship will be held on April 5th. Gonzaga versus Illinois. Ryan, you'll be eating some pizza during that game. Who will tip it and win it?
I hope I'm eating a pretzel crust Little Caesars pizza, Santiago, to be specific.
I mean, I personally could do that too. So I'll remember that, put that in my calendar to order that.
If this game happens, I think we're in for a great one. I hope this is better than the college football championship that we got between Alabama and Ohio State, which I think it will be. I just, again, undefeated season, what a remarkable story that would be to go from start to finish undefeated for Gonzaga. And I know I'm a fan, and I'm trying to take my fan hat off, but I just can't, Santiago, because I think they are just that good of a team. Gonzaga Bulldogs, your 2021 national champion.
Gonzaga Bulldogs champion. That is what Ryan Christa says. Do I believe him? I think he's right. And this is the bracket. You can watch it. Gonzaga goes through. They beat Norfolk. They beat Missouri. They beat Creighton. They beat Iowa. And they beat Alabama. And then they beat Illinois. That is Ryan Christa's bracket. This is the official Sportscast show bracket. I haven't done mine yet. I have to go on the ESPN, and I'll probably link that out for everyone if they want to participate and see what happens. But yeah, that is it. That is it. So Ryan, how do you feel overall? Is this going to be a good tournament? Now foreseeing, now predicting the bracket. Do you think it'll be fun, or it's going to be an easy blowout for Gonzaga? I guess I don't know.
Oh, I don't think it's ever going to be easy because. Playing Winks, like I said, the first game could be a layup, and it should be. After that, it's going to be a grind. It always is. I just think Gonzaga is that much deeper than every other team they play. But in general terms, this tournament is going to be different. Obviously, most people know it's held all around the Indianapolis area.
Less travel.
Limited crowd, but still enough, I think, to make a little bit of an impact, 25%. So it's not going to be like in completely quietness, which I was excited to see some fans. There'll be a lot in there. But, I don't think you're going to get those things, those early rounds. You go to, if you've ever been to an early round basketball game, we've got a lot of neutral people there who just love basketball, and they're always going to get behind the underdog. I don't think you're going to have, you're not going to have a team that just feeds off the crowd to spur them on to victory. So that's kind of what leads me to believe that you might not have all the upsets that we normally have. One game I didn't predict one way. I would be gladly wrong if our Liberty Flames beat Oklahoma State. I don't foresee it, but that would be awesome because there's going to be a game just like that you don't see coming that you're going to be like, wow. And that's the magic of March. That's why no one ever gets a correct bracket. So I'm looking forward to it. I always do. I love the first 2 rounds are just, wall-to-wall basketball. Like these, games where anything can happen, and you got to buckle your seatbelts because expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected. NCAA March Madness begins this weekend. The final championship will be on April 5th at the Lucas Oil Stadium, and that will be a extra special taste to it. 25% capacity, just like Ryan says. We'll see if we'll resemble a bubble style. We'll see some people on Zoom and seeing some fans enjoying the game from the comfort of their seat and perhaps eating a Little Caesars pretzel pizza. Anyways, let's jump into the NFL while we have Ryan here. Hunter Henry signs with the Patriots. Also, Matt Judon. 2 big signings. The Patriots are having a great offseason so far, and it's not over yet. Ryan, I want to hear your take on the Patriots, their moves going on so far this week.
Well, they bring back Cam Newton, and they, I think they basically said, well, you didn't have the weapon. We didn't give you fair shot because you didn't have, the weapons around you. So right now, I think they're saying there's no excuse. We give you 2 legitimate pass-catching tight ends. I just think, your Matt Judon's a quality player on the defensive side.
Linebacker.
You got to remember, this is an average defense that had, 3 or 4 top-level players not playing last year because they opted out due to COVID. So you're going to return some players along with, addition of a Matt Judon. So I don't think they're in the Bills level, but I think this team will definitely make a run at the playoffs.
AFC East champions?
No. Buffalo all the way, Santiago.
Oh, okay. No, just double checking because they got some huge signings. But, hey, it's still not over. Free agency actually begins at 4 p.m. today. Another big signing. We had our show on actually on Monday. Drew Brees retired on this past weekend. Later that afternoon on Monday, the Saints resigned James Winston, and it looks like he'll be the starting quarterback. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
I think it'll be interesting as training camp goes. I think, this dilemma between Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. Sean Payton really loves Taysom Hill. He gives you that, that running threat at the quarterback. But Jameis Winston's got all the talent in the world, and I do believe if it goes to the whole training camp that he'll win the starting job. But this is a team, I think, that not just because Drew Brees is retiring, it's going to take a step back. They were hit by some salary cap issues. They really went all in on last year, Santiago, and Drew Brees just wasn't healthy enough for that to happen. But I think they'll definitely, the Buccaneers will create a big gap between them and the Saints this year.
And speaking about the Bills, which we spoke about a few minutes ago, the Raiders are signing veteran wide receiver John Brown.
Yeah, good for John Brown. The Bills, they won't be making a lot of moves because I think they really like the roster.
They land Manuel Sanders yesterday.
Yeah, that was good. I think that fills the need. I think Josh Allen will have the weapons he needs. I think there was a hope that they would, go after, and they still might go after, a little deeper of a running back core because they lack, the consistency in the running game. I think that, I think their line is built to pass protect, and I think that's what they're going to do. It's not a big mauling offensive line that, they used to, a run-first team would have. So I think teams that, I think the Bills will, I don't know if they can get any better in the regular season, but I think they'll hold serve for where they are. Win the AFC. I think the team that's going to take a big step back, Santiago. We talked about the Saints in the NFC. The AFC, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this team is losing, players. I assume they're probably going to move on from Juju Smith here. I don't like the future of the Steelers the immediate future of the Steelers right now.
And finally, Jacoby Brissett signs with the Miami Dolphins.
I think that's a smart move. I think Brissett's happy to be a backup, but he's capable enough if Tua gets hurt or is just having a bad game. Brissett can step in there, and fill the need. I guess, I think as time goes on, I think we're expecting these massive moves with the quarterbacks. Dak stayed in Dallas. It looks like the Seahawks and Texans are kind of refusing any trade offers right now for Watson and Wilson.
Andy Dalton goes to Chicago.
Andy Dalton. So, that was one thing, okay, that led you to believe that the Bears were hoping to go all in on Russell Wilson, and basically they got the door shut on them by the Bears. So, by the Seahawks. So they go in and bring in, an Andy Dalton. Because, this team, it was a horrendous offense, but people forget they still made it to the playoffs. This is a great defense. Allen Robinson, with the rest of the offense struggling, still 100 catches. They bring him back under the franchise tag. I don't think they're in Packers level, but they're probably equal with the Vikings. You can flip-flop with them, but I think there's definitely a gap right now with the Lions. They're going to have to take some time, but we'll see, Santiago. I think you'll still see the Jets move on from Sam Darnold. I think they're putting some flyers out there. Where will he land? I'm not sure. Jimmy Garoppolo, what the 49ers going to do with him? I think, the 49ers would do everything they could to get Deshaun Watson, because I think they feel like a Deshaun Watson, they're Super Bowl favorites because they're the roster that they have.
And Von Miller, Broncos will exercise Von Miller's $7 million guarantee option on Von Miller's $18 million salary for 2021.
Yeah, so this is basically just to run money other free agents signing in Denver, but that's okay. Von Miller's a cornerstone of this franchise, is Pro Bowler, MVP candidate, one of the best defensive players in Broncos history. It wasn't an easy decision, like I said, because it shuts the door on many other moves the Broncos can make. So I think they weighed the options. They just couldn't move on from them. So
we covered a lot. Ryan's like, man, I'm surprised you said that. I didn't know Jacoby Brissett went to Miami. Anyways, let's go on to predictions. NFL free agency still goes on. A lot of moves. So far, Ryan, the winner is the Patriots, right? So far, they're doing good.
They're winning on paper, Santiago. Again, it's like a draft day. You read the day after column of the draft and you say winners and losers. How do you judge the winners and losers when no one's stepped on the field yet?
That's true. On paper.
Just because they're spending money. Yes, they're going on and they're aggressive, and that helps. But in the end, these moves could, blow up on them. But
it's not because you're loyal to the Bills. That's why. Maybe you could be nervous.
No. This is just in general. I think there's some monumental moves last year about this time. We thought, oh my goodness, Tom Brady goes from Patriots to the Buccaneers. That's a monumental move just because Tom Brady's leaving the Patriots. And all of a sudden it makes when a quarterback moves, it's always big news because there's no position more important in sports than a quarterback. When you got these other moves with other players, time will tell. I think on paper it works out, and that's why I said I think the Patriots go from third place to second place in the division. I think, and that's nothing against the Dolphins. I think you're going to have a really great division in the AFC East. I think all the wild cards could legitimately come from that division.
Moving the needle. That's the name of the game. Let's go on to predictions. Champions League, Atletico Madrid at Chelsea. Ryan, who you got? Chelsea's up in aggregate 1-0.
I think you're going to have a scoreless game with Chelsea moving on.
NBA Spurs at the Chicago Bulls.
I think the Bulls. Update people. Looks like Spurs or former Spurs star now, LaMarcus Aldridge, is looking for a buyout instead of trading because I think they're finding out the trade market for LaMarcus Aldridge and his contract is very small. I think as we get closer, to the trade deadline here in a couple of weeks, I'm sure you and Jordan, Vargas, and I will be talking about NBA trades here coming up.
Yeah.
But look to see which teams are going to be filling up their needs here for the stretch run. This is Santiago. There is an insane amount of games these teams are going to be playing in the next several months, and it's going to be fun because there's really no chance that every player is going to play in every game because, these teams are going to wear down. I think you're going to see a lot of star players get rest games. It's going to be interesting to see how,
when do the playoffs start?
It's, I think, June.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's not the typical April. Oh, wow. That's 2 months from now.
So we still got a long ways left and a lot of games to play. It's going to be interesting to see teams like, who would definitely make the playoffs, i.e. Lakers. Are they going to give LeBron James, who's logging an insane amount of minutes every game, rest? I think the Clippers are always known famous for giving Kawhi and Paul George rest days. But at the same time, you don't want to lose your sharpness either. So teams that are fighting for playoffs, they're going to go on. And I think, the result of that is they're going to be dead tired by the time the playoffs start because they're going to be logging a lot of minutes and a lot of games down the stretch here.
Quite interesting. Ryan giving us some insight. Of course, you're invited every Monday at 4 p.m. For the NBA show with Jordan. Of course, we could do another time. But, yeah, these trades are going to happen, and we'll definitely hear them out throughout the next couple of weeks. Poll question of the day, Ryan. Which team looks best in green? Options are the Boston Celtics, the Philadelphia Eagles, Green Bay Packers, or the New York Jets.
Santiago, St. Patrick's Day, is there any other answer besides the Boston Celtics?
Okay.
is
Celtics the St. Patrick's Day team.
They are. City of Boston, the Irish history of that city is quite large, and kind of got that always symbolic, Irish shamrock, correlation with the city of Boston.
That sounds good. Hopefully, I'll have some cabbage and some beef, corned beef, later today. But no guarantees.
My wife and I, one of the reasons why I think we fell in love with Santiago, we both had the same dislike for corned beef and cabbage. We are a bangers and mash family.
Interesting. Are you part Irish?
No, not really. No. I think there's some Irishness in my family, but not really blood related.
I understand. I got none for sure, but but I do like the food.
I can believe that, Santiago. I can believe that.
Interesting fact. I've been hearing that St. Patrick was actually Italian.
I heard that too. Yeah. I just think he was he was a missionary to Ireland. I think that's
correct. Someone told me, an Italian told me this morning about it, and I had no clue. And that's 35 years of living. I had no idea. But anyways, Ryan, Christa, what is the...
Without going on a sidetrack, I encourage all listeners to look up St. Patrick's Day and the meaning of St. Patrick's Day. I think you'll have a fresh perspective on this day and and what goes on, the foundations of this holiday.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty profound and deep. It's more than green beer. And by the way, Celtics is winning in the poll with Ryan, 62%. Packers at 23%. Eagles is edging out the Jets by 0.5.
Oh, wow. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. I could have added the Supersonics, but they're no longer in existence. Anyways, Ryan, what is the best way to reach you to talk to you about where's the best place to get some Irish food in Rochester?
That's a tough choice. There's a guy. Probably Mad Dog Report on Twitter here.
Mad Dog Report. You can reach us at the Sportscast1 or at the sportscast.net. Follow us. We shoot out the most important signings. We don't go for the offensive tackles or tackles that no one knows about. We go for the real name news. I got the contacts. They tell me what's going to happen. We'll see what happens. I've been hearing things about Watson. He's staying in Houston, but things can change the last second, right, Ryan?
Absolutely. I don't think anything's going to happen now, but at the end of the day, if you can't have your star player not playing and not getting anything from him. So this is a story I think you're going to revisit here several months down the line.
I do agree. He needs some weapons, according to Justin Riley. Anyways, Ryan, Christa, happy St. Patrick's.
Thanks. Same to you. God bless everybody out there.
Ciao, ciao.